Hi there, my name is Sofia. I'm visiting Cape Breton Islands and I'm from Toronto, Ontario. Today I've recently found out about a book about the Cape Breton giant known as Angus MacAskill. This was published in 1926. Right. Today we're going to be listening to a story about the giant MacAskill, produced, sung, and narrated by Charlie McKinnon.
Many stories have been told in verse and song of many great heroes the world has known. Here in the Highlands, whenever stories of size and strength are told, the subject always turns to one of the world's true giants, Angus MacAskill.
It's exciting.
And I will sing and tell you the story of the Nova Scotian giant. Now listen, you good people, wherever you may be. I pray you pay attention and listen unto me, while I sing and tell the praises of a great and noble man, reared in fair Cape Breton, in the village of St. Anne's. Angus MacAskill was born on the Isle of Harris in the year 1825.
1825.
Harris is one of a group of islands which lie off the north coast of Scotland, called the Outer Hebrides. Along with many other Scottish pioneers, came by ship and arrived at English town, Cape Breton, and settled in the small village of St. Anne's. Then as Angus reached his early teens, he began to develop his huge frame, until his height measured 7 feet 9 inches. He weighed 425 pounds and was 4 feet across the shoulders and 6 feet encircled round. His hands were 6 inches wide and 1 foot in length.
Jesus!
And the boots the giant wore were 1 foot 8 inches long. The giant's height was 7 feet 9. He weighed over 400 pounds, 4 feet across the shoulders, and 6 encircled around. 1 foot 8 inches was the size of the boots our hero wore. A giant indeed, such as we read in tales of ancient lore. One day, while appearing at a club in New York, he showed his strength to the amazement of the crowds that had gathered to see him. After the preliminaries, in which Tom Thumb would sit on his right shoulder, try on his large beaver hat, stand on his outstretched hand, and many other such antics, he showed the strength of a true giant.
Yeah!
While appearing at a club one day while staying in New York, he lifted high a whiskey barrel that did not have a cork. Then lifting up the puncheon, placed the bunghole to his mouth, and took a drink amid the cheers of wondering crowds about. One of the greatest feats of strength ever performed by any human also happened while the giant was appearing in New York City. On the pier nearby lay a large anchor weighing 2,200 pounds. As the giant strolled among the crowd, with Tom Thumb perched on his shoulder, as usual, a sailor asked the giant if he could lift the anchor. Not wishing to disappoint the large crowd, and against the wishes of his friend Tom Thumb, the giant bent and seized the anchor. Then resting it on his shoulder, walked a distance of 10 feet.
Oh, jeez.
Then the wild cheering of the crowd soon turned to a hushed silence. For while throwing the anchor down and away from him, one of the flukes struck him on the right shoulder, bringing him to his knees with a quick jerk and injuring his great frame. Now the greatest feat on a record performed by any man was the shouldering of an anchor by the giant from St. Anne's. The anchor weighed 2,200 pounds, but oh, it was a fatal feat for him, which filled his heart with woe. It was on a pier in New York, mid the cheering of the throng. Walking with the anchor, he went to throw it down. The fluke hooked in the giant's back and wrecked his stalwart frame. His name and deeds will ever live on the list of size and fame. Then on August 6th, 1863, after 1 week's illness, giant Angus MacAskill passed away peacefully in his sleep of a brain tumor. Newspapers throughout the world mentioned the passing of the Nova Scotian giant.
Cool. That was super interesting. If you are visiting the Cabot Trail, make sure that you stop by at the Giant MacAskill Museum at St. Anne's.